All right, so get this. Today's deep dive is all about something that I think pretty much connects every single one of us, and that is humor. But of course, we're not just going for the cheap laughs. We're trying to go a little deeper here, and specifically, we're looking at how humor works in English.
And that can be surprisingly complex.
Yeah.
I think everyone kind of innately gets that humor is important. But then when you start to ask, like, why is it important?
Yeah, why is it important?
Then things get a little bit trickier.
Yeah, and that's actually what caught my attention in the podcast episode that we are using as our source material today. It's called How to Discuss Comedy and Humor in English. And they made this really good point, which is that, just being able to laugh in English is one thing, but like dissecting humor and talking about it.
It's a whole other level.
Yeah, that's next level stuff.
Because it's not just vocabulary, is it? I mean, imagine being able to truly understand a stand-up routine or get why that sitcom joke is landing so well with native speakers. That's cultural insight that you just can't get from a textbook.
Right? It's like cracking a code.
Yeah.
And honestly, language learning can be a grind.
Oh, absolutely.
It can be tough. It can be a lot of work. And humor just makes it more fun. It helps you relax and maybe even connect with people who share your sense of humor.
It reveals so much about people too, right? Like what people find funny tells you about their values, like what they think is absurd, even their history.
Oh, for sure.
It's really fascinating.
Okay, so we're sold on why humor matters, but then how do we actually talk about it in English?
Right.
Like the source material gave us some great vocabulary words.
Yeah.
And some of them are trickier than you think.
Yeah, like punchline. I mean, we all kind of know it's the funny part, but it's like there's more to it than that.
Yeah. What is it?
It's the payoff. It's the payoff of the whole joke, the twist that you didn't see coming.
Right. And that's where understanding setup comes in.
Yes.
A good punchline hinges on the setup, that clever buildup that makes the payoff so satisfying.
And let's not forget about sarcasm.
Oh, yes. Sarcasm.
That art of saying the opposite of what you mean.
Yes.
Which can be so tough to catch in another language.
Especially in another language, yeah.
It all comes down to tone of voice and context.
For sure. Like if your friend says lovely weather during a thunderstorm.
Right.
Sarcasm in action.
Exactly.
And then you've got wit, that quick, sharp humor that makes you think.
It's almost like a verbal game of chess.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, think of someone like Oscar Wilde, known for his witty remarks and just this really clever wordplay. He didn't just make jokes. He kind of turned language itself into humor.
That's fascinating. See, now that's what I mean by going deeper than just,
Absolutely.
Defining a word. So we've got some vocabulary down, but are there specific phrases that we can use to sound more natural when we're actually talking about comedy?
Absolutely. When you want to share a joke, starting with something like, "Did you hear the one about?"
Oh, yeah.
Instantly signals that you're about to unleash some humor.
It sets the tone, right? People know to get ready to laugh. What about when you're reacting to a joke? Because just saying, "That's funny," can feel a little bit flat.
It can be a little bit flat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Instead, try something more expressive, like, "You're killing me," or "I needed that laugh."
Yeah.
It shows that you really got the joke and appreciated the humor.
Oh, for sure. And it's more enthusiastic, too.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like you're really feeling it.
And you could even take it a step further, right? Like, instead of just saying, "You're funny," which is fine, you could say something like, "You have such a dry sense of humor, I love it," or "Your comedic timing is impeccable."
Oh, those are good. Yeah, because then it shows that you're paying attention to the craft of the humor, not just the laugh themselves, but, understanding humor in a different language is still tricky.
It is.
I bet our listener is wondering, okay, how do I actually get English humor better?
Yeah, it's a journey, for sure.
Yeah.
The podcast we're using as a source today really emphasized, watching comedy shows.
Oh, yeah.
But not just passively watching, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Really paying attention to the different styles of humor.
Oh, like how some comedians are all about observational humor, finding the funny in everyday life.
Exactly.
Those little things we can all relate to.
Then you've got your physical comedians, all slapstick and silly faces, and of course the wordplay masters.
Yes.
Who can make a pun out of anything.
It's almost like learning different genres of music.
It is.
Once you know what to listen for, you appreciate it more.
Absolutely.
But the source also mentioned cultural references being a big deal.
Huge deal.
Yeah.
Huge deal.
Okay. So much of humor is built on this shared knowledge,
Yeah.
Current events, celebrities, those inside jokes that only make sense if you're in the loop.
So it's not just about language, it's about cultural immersion.
It's exactly.
The more you understand like what's going on in the English-speaking world, the more you'll get the jokes.
And that's where the real fun begins.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's like unlocking a secret level of understanding.
Yeah.
But even armed with all this knowledge, are there like common mistakes that people make when they're trying to be funny in English?
The podcast had a whole section on that.
They did.
And I gotta admit, I've probably been guilty of some of these myself.
Oh, me too.
Like overusing sarcasm.
It's so easy to do, especially in writing.
Oh, especially in writing.
Where you don't have the tone of voice to help you out.
Yeah.
Sarcasm relies so much on delivery and context.
Right.
That it can just come across as like rude or mean if you're not careful.
Right. And then there's that urge to force jokes.
Oh, yeah.
Like you have to be funny all the time.
You don't.
You don't. Sometimes sincerity is more powerful than a poorly timed joke.
Totally agree. It's like you wouldn't wear a clown suit to a funeral.
Right.
Right?
Right.
There's a time and a place for humor.
Yeah.
And being sensitive to that is crucial.
And of course, cultural differences can make things tricky.
Oh, for sure.
What's hilarious in one culture might be totally offensive in another.
It's a reminder that humor isn't universal.
Right.
Even if laughter is.
Yeah.
You got to be aware of those nuances and adapt your humor accordingly.
So we've talked about the importance of observation, different styles of humor, common mistakes. I feel like I've learned a ton just from this deep dive.
Me too.
But where do we go from here? Like, how can our listener actually put all this into practice? So we talked about all this stuff, but how do we actually use it?
Well, the podcast we've been looking at actually had a really simple but powerful tip. Try telling jokes in English.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like actually telling jokes.
Yeah, I love that. It seems so obvious, but I think so many people are afraid to actually do humor,
Totally. It's like stage fright, but for jokes.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing is, even if your jokes bomb, you're learning so much in the process.
Oh, absolutely.
You're putting those vocabulary words into action. You're figuring out like what makes people laugh.
And what doesn't, because let's be real, not every joke is a winner.
Oh, yeah.
Even professional comedians have their flops. But it's those flops that help you kind of refine your sense of humor, understand comedic timing, all that good stuff.
So it's like failing forward.
Exactly.
I think the key takeaway here is that understanding humor in a different language isn't just about like absorbing information. It's about participating.
It's like learning to dance. You can read all the books about footwork and rhythm,
Right.
but until you get on the dance floor and try it yourself, you'll never truly get it.
Such a good analogy. So if you're serious about mastering English humor, don't just be a spectator. Share a funny anecdote with a friend. Try writing your own jokes, even if they're just silly puns to start with.
And don't be afraid to experiment with different styles. Maybe you'll find that you have a knack for observational humor, or perhaps you're a master of deadpan delivery. The more you play around with it, the more you'll discover your own unique comedic voice.
And what's really cool is that even if your jokes don't always land perfectly, the effort itself shows people you're engaging with their culture on a deeper level.
Oh, for sure.
It's a sign of respect, of wanting to connect.
Absolutely. Humor is a bridge between people. And even just a simple attempt at a joke can spark a conversation, break the ice, and create this moment of shared joy.
So to wrap up this deep dive into the world of English humor, I think the message is clear. Don't just learn about it live. Embrace the awkward moments, the silly puns, the jokes that fall flat.
Because in the end, it's not just about being funny. It's about connecting with others, experiencing a different culture, and expanding your understanding of the world through the lens of laughter.
Beautifully said. So go forth, our intrepid listener, and unleash your inner comedian. The world needs more laughter, and who knows, you might just surprise yourself with your own comedic brilliance.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep laughing.